Did you know that one of the most powerful institutions in the United States is on the verge of collapsing? It's not an exaggeration. The Department of Justice, one of the most respected entities in the country, is in ruins. And what's happening inside is more shocking than you could imagine. Picture a DOJ lawyer facing a federal judge and saying, "We have no guidance. We don't know what to do." Just like that. Surprised? So am I. And what's worse is that this is not just an internal issue. This chaos is affecting everyone, even you. What they're not telling you is that this disaster could have much larger consequences than you think. Stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal will change your perspective on the U.S. judicial system and perhaps on the future of justice itself. This is not an isolated issue, and the worst part is that we can no longer ignore it. What we're seeing in the Department of Justice is just the tip of the iceberg. The collapse isn't something happening overnight. It's been a slow process, but now it's evident to everyone. What started as a minor slip-up has turned into a full-blown crisis. Can you imagine the very lawyers who are supposed to uphold the law now saying they don't know what to do? And it's not just a desperate statement, it's the reality. It reflects a system that is failing. But why is this happening? What's truly at stake here? What does this mean for the future of justice? And more importantly, how will it directly affect you if this situation keeps getting worse? Let's dive into this, because what's coming is even more shocking than you think. Now, here's where the story gets really dark. Imagine a DOJ lawyer like Julie Lee telling a federal judge, "This system stinks. I need 24 hours of rest, please." Do you realize what that implies? It's not just a personal complaint, it's the collapse of an entire system. And the most terrifying part is that this isn't an isolated case. More and more lawyers are quitting their positions. They're leaving in droves. But here's the part no one wants to admit. The Department of Justice is so depleted that now they have to rely on immigration lawyers and other less qualified professionals just to fill the gaps. These aren't the types of lawyers we should have handling high-impact federal cases. And most disturbing of all, this emptying out has created a scenario where the most critical decisions are being made by people without the proper qualifications. What happens if this continues? If this chaos becomes the norm, we won't just lose faith in the judicial system. Justice itself will be in jeopardy. But here's the most surprising part. While all of this is happening, the Trump administration doesn't seem to be doing anything to stop the freefall of the Department of Justice. Instead of finding solutions, they are receiving a flood of desperate recruitment efforts. Can you imagine, in the 21st century, the United States Department of Justice resorting to social media to hire lawyers? That's right. They're posting ads, looking for lawyers willing to support Trump and his tough-on-crime agenda. And the most incredible part, the message is clear: join the mission, do something good for your country. Really? A position that once represented the pinnacle of a legal career is now an offer that almost anyone can accept. What used to be a competitive job is now a public call. What does this mean for the future of justice in the U.S.? And even more so, how does it impact you, the ordinary people, the families who rely on a fair legal system? And even though these recruitment ads sound almost comical, there's something deeply disturbing about them. The Department of Justice is resorting to desperate tactics, like using cartoon characters to attract lawyers as if this were some game. Instead of sending a serious message about the importance of justice, they are hiring deportation judges as if they were just store employees. And here's the twist. These judges aren't real federal judges. They're lawyers who don't even have the training or authority to handle such critical cases. In fact, they are using administrative permits instead of valid court orders to make arrests and conduct raids. Not only does this violate the Constitution, but it opens a dangerous door to abuse of power. If these judges can't guarantee fundamental rights, how can we expect the judicial system to function to protect you and your loved ones? This is the cost of a system that has been reduced to a propaganda show. Now, we reach a critical point, because if this continues, what we're witnessing isn't just a failure within the Department of Justice, it's a massive institutional crisis. Imagine this. They are running out of qualified staff to handle serious cases. The lawyers who remain at the DOJ are being put under immense pressure, forced to comply with orders that they clearly can't execute. Major criminal investigations, such as those related to sex trafficking, fraud, or money laundering, are simply not being prosecuted. The system can no longer function as it's supposed to. Offices are empty, key positions are completely vacant, and the most important cases are being ignored. But here's the question. What happens when people lose faith in a judicial system that is designed to protect their rights? When the government can't enforce the law, who is held accountable? And here's where the consequences become even more visible to everyone. This collapse is not just an internal government issue, but a real harm to the lives of everyday people. Major criminal cases are being neglected. Human trafficking, bank robberies, organized crime, they're simply not being processed. What does this mean for you? It means that the justice system, which should be your guarantee of safety, is failing. And not just that, the people who need it most, the victims of serious crimes, are suffering the most. Who will protect citizens if those responsible for justice can't do their job? If this continues, people will keep losing trust in the system, and the damage will be irreversible. And while all of this is happening, it's impossible to ignore how power and political interests are influencing this crisis. The real question is, who benefits from all this? The answer isn't simple, but it has to do with how people in power are using the Department of Justice for their own purposes, not to protect citizens. The strategy is clear: dismantle what works and fill the gaps with political loyalties, not legal competence. This approach, which appears to seek restoring order, is actually undermining everything that makes the judicial system function. And here's the truly chilling point. What we're seeing is just the beginning of a larger agenda, one that threatens the very foundations of democracy. When a government can manipulate justice this way, where does fairness stand? And who has the power to stop this? But now we have to look to the future, and what lies ahead is anything but clear. There are two paths that things could take, and both are dangerous. First, we might see an effort to rebuild what's left of the Department of Justice. But with so many vacant positions and trust eroded, is that even possible? Who would want a position in such a compromised institution where political loyalty matters more than professional competence? On the other hand, we might be facing the consolidation of a system where justice is no longer about protecting rights, but about executing a political agenda. If this continues, the U.S. judicial system won't be what it once was, and that has implications beyond what we can imagine. And the key question is, what is power willing to do to keep this all going? What happens now will define the future of the country for a long time. What we've witnessed so far is not just an administrative disaster, it's a direct blow to the foundations of justice in the United States. The worst part is that no one seems willing to take responsibility. The damage is done and it's irreparable, but the real question is, how can we let this continue? The judicial system, once the cornerstone of our democracy, is being used as a political tool, and that should concern us all. What's happening now not only changes the future of the Department of Justice, it changes the future of the entire country. If this trend continues, justice will no longer be equal for all. If this concerns you, if you feel something is wrong, leave your opinion in the comments. This is a conversation we cannot ignore. And if you want to keep exploring how this could affect you, make sure to follow us for more analysis like this.